The big boys of Manchester United back at Portman Road and Ipswich Town go toe to toe. Welcome to Blue Monday and Ipswich Town podcast. Well, DD, that could have been a lot worse, couldn't it?
Yeah, great afternoon. What a great afternoon. What a great game. Great advert, I thought, for the Premier League. Brilliant. And it's still, I was saying to one or two people in the pub beforehand, sorry, Man United at home, when you know, those up the road aren't playing your division, Man United at home is still the biggest game of the season. It just is. It's just the pool, isn't it? And it was just fantastic. I thought from start to finish, the day, superb atmosphere, really loud, which is what it needed. And yeah, the players just absolutely reached, some of them reached just levels I don't think we've seen so far this season today, probably.
We hyped it up, Joe, as Man United week. It's been great, hasn't it, to be fair?
Yeah, and there's been a lot of talk about Ruben Amorim in the press, so hopefully we'll hear some talk about Kieran McKenna in the press, sort of picking it up on the other side of it, about how he probably got the better of him tactically today, didn't he? I think quite heavily, really, when you think at the sort of quality of squads and sort of individuals going up against each other. I think, yeah, Kieran McKenna's done himself a lot of favours there for the watching public.
You are watching Blue Monday and Ipswich Town podcast. If you are with us in the chat, get your views in via the comments. I think the comments are going to be a very positive place today after it was Ipswich Town 1, Manchester United 1 in the Premier League. Dave, it's another draw on the board, but there's a whole load of context to that, isn't there?
I think so, definitely today. I think, on the back of the Leicester game, 2 weeks ago, anyway, on the back of the Leicester game, very, very deflated. And, looking at the next two games coming up, we had Spurs away and Man United at home today. And you're thinking, I think beyond our wildest dreams, maybe we'd have thought it would have been the other way round, a point perhaps at Spurs and maybe 3 today, but 4 points out of 6 is what is superb. 3 games unbeaten now. You just got to take that forward now. Absolutely brilliant.
We were looking for that little run, Joe. We haven't got back-to-back wins, which Jamie Redknapp rightly pointed out in his pretty good piece with Kieran McKenna, actually, which was on Sky Sports YouTube today. That's what you really want. But 5 points in 3 games, you dot a few of those in through the season. You're looking all right, Joe.
Yeah, and it's the performances as well, isn't it? We're not just getting results by hook or by crook, which I know sometimes you do need to do, but I think we've deserved every point we've got this season so far, and probably deserve a couple more here and there. But not to be at home, we sort of not managed to get one of those over the line at home. So even if you look at the Everton game, the Villa game, not the Everton game, the Villa game, the Fulham game today, there's probably 3 of those ones where probably should have won one of those 3, really, shouldn't we? I think we've done enough in all of them to win them one way or another.
Yeah, 100%. So it was. We've hyped it up, haven't we? The big super mega turbo TV game at 4:30 p.m. And what I love about this, Dave, is honestly, for a lot of football fans who are, I don't know, you tell me what age, this might be the first time Ipswich have come up on their radar. Do you know what I mean? If you just watch the big games on Sunday afternoon and, maybe you're getting a little bit of the Man United fairy dust sprinkled on you. But this is great to be involved. And there will be people who are just coming across Kieran McKenna and Sam Morsey and Leif Davis for the first time today.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I think someone posted, and you'd remember this game, so with Joe, someone posted earlier, and I think it's 3 years to the day where we got absolutely outplayed 2-0 at home by Rotherham.
Oh, that game. Matt Crook scored twice, yeah?
Oh, got absolutely battered by them, didn't it? 2-0 could have easily been 3 or 4. How far we've come in 3. So I know we say it every week virtually, don't we? But how far we've come. And I think today was just about the pinnacle of it so far, wasn't, with the exposure and everything, the excitement around and the news, the buzz around Amorim's first game today. It was just great to be down there today.
Rando 123 499 in the super chat, Joe. Thank you very, very much. It's absolutely free to watch this. Just make sure you hit a thumbs up and get some comments and subscribe. Leon, thank you, 199 on the Super Chat. Keep up the good work, Blue Monday team. Thank you so much for the Super Chats, guys. Super, super kind. Joe, your Ipswich Town team to face Manchester United was Aro Muric in goal, Axel Tuan, Xavier Leaf-Davis at fullback, Dara O'Shea and Cameron Burgess at centre-back, Sam Morsey and Jens Kayus. No Calvin Effin Phillips in midfield. No Jacob something handsome Greaves in centre-back. Smodix, Hutchinson, Burns, Delap. No surprises apart from Calvin Phillips, Joe?
Well, I guess the big surprise was Ben Johnson out for Wes Burns, because it's an unchanged team for Tottenham otherwise, but Ben Johnson wasn't even on the bench, so I presume has got a knock. I haven't heard anything from McKenna lately, but Phillips wasn't on the bench either.
Johnson.
So you imagine that they'd have that there. Jacob Greaves is actually sort of the 19th man doing the warm-up as well, so he was there, so he must be very, very close to full fitness if he's not there already and just wasn't selected on the bench. But so Cameron Burgess was imperious again, so he's going to struggle to get back in. Imagine there, but Nathan Broadhead not on the bench, but he was. He didn't go away with Wales, so presumably he's injured because we don't normally have three defenders on the bench. So
Footmob said he was injured. Yeah.
So we'll see. Okay. Yeah. Just the surprise was the Wes Burns coming into the side, but we weren't aware of the injuries.
I had to point out on the watch long earlier to new watchers, Dave, that Cameron Burgess was signed from Accrington and Wes Burns from Fleetwood.
It is ridiculous. I mean, the only thing about that is, from what we understand, I'm not sure if this broke post-match, but Phillips is also out with. He wasn't in the squad today either, so also out with an injury. And so McKenna was all kind of bit sort of vague about that, wasn't he? So I haven't seen it, but so I read somewhere.
Manchester United, Dave, has been boring all this week. People obsessing about this formation. Chris McTaggart in New Zealand. Thank you. Wow. I'm more than happy with a draw. Thank you, Chris. $10 NZ on the Super Chat. Thank you so much for your support. Right. They're coming in thick and fast. We heard all about this system, and to be fair to the press, Dave, they were right with exactly the team shape that we saw. Onana in goal, who I'm very annoyed with today. More from him, a lot more from him later. Mazraoui, Liam Delap's best mate, Delict, and Johnny Evans. You can still find him. A kind of unbalanced pair of wing backs. Dallo, who's kind of a fullback, and Diallo, who we saw in the Championship as a rampaging winger. More from him in about 3 minutes' time on the podcast. Casemiro and Ericsson in possibly the slowest central midfield the Premier League has ever seen. The brilliant, I'm sorry, I love watching Bruno Fernandes. Very good. Garnacho and Marcus Rashford and Dave as well. I know I tell you off for looking at benches. Anthony, Mainu, Mount, Hoyland, Xerxes, Ugarte, Shaw. Joe's already made the point, and we could do this every week, but this is a squad that cost fortunes going up against our ex-Accrington and Fleetwood players. Yes, I know we signed some people for 20 million in the summer, Dave.
But that bench alone. Well, what's the bloody transfer value of that bench? And fees paid, for Christ's sake. Well, even when that towards the end, when they brought on Hoyland and Xerxes towards the end, bloody hellfire. Yeah, it's strong. I mean, I think when I saw that, perhaps no disrespect, but when you see perhaps starting with Casemiro and Ericsson in midfield, you think, okay, as you quite rightly said, not the paciest, perhaps the most mobile in midfield either. So maybe that perhaps gives us a bit of an edge, and also. Again, no disrespect to what a career he's had, the longevity, but again, Johnny Evans at the back as well. So, seeing their team, I wasn't too... Obviously, they've got class there. They've got Fernandes, they've got pace, Garnacho and Rashford, they've got a lot of pace there. But, seeing that, I was sort of quietly confident. But, I thought, okay.
What was your take on the Man United 11, Joe? I assume you're more of a student of Portuguese football than David and myself are. I know Victor Gyökeres very, very well from covering the Championship, who plays for Sporting. But is that what you kind of expected? The front three, I know it feels a bit much of a muchness, but the front three still star-studded, isn't it?
Yeah, and like I say, you look at the team and you think, for how much they've spent, it's not that brilliant a team, is it? Especially through the middle, through the sort of at the back and in midfield. It's quite a slow, immobile team there when you look through the middle of it. And like Casemiro he's younger than Sam Morsey, but he looks like he's about like a 37-year-old player playing out there, doesn't he? Like really at the end of his career, but he's a year younger than Sam Morsey, 18 months younger than Sam Morsey. I thought Sam Morsey, the guy that dropped down into League One
Joe,
2
do you remember
seasons
when they
ago.
used to put the pictures of Charlie Adam and Cristiano Ronaldo next to each other and
Yeah.
say which one's older? Yeah,
And
But
I think Casemiro's one of the ones on 300k a week as well, isn't he? Apparently.
But you look at, obviously his career has been incredible. Like, he's won everything there is to win multiple
All of
times.
it.
But
Yeah.
it's mad that Sam Morsey was sort of ran over him really in the midfield at times today.
Well, do you want to pick up on that, Joe? Because Amorim said in the post-match that basically those two midfielders didn't get near Morsey, as in he was back here and they never managed to engage him. And he uttered the amazing words, the number 5 was just on his own.
Yeah. And it's just such a testament. And I know we've given him his props a number of times, but Sam Morsey, for a guy who's sort of 33, dropped down into League One with us and was an absolute class above in League One. He thought when he gets to the Championship, it's not going to be this easy for him. And he still was the best player on the pitch most weeks in the Championship. And he's, again, even in the Premier League, he's stepping up and playing so well there. And you just think, wow, if he was 27, not 33, he'd be seriously going so far. It's just been, it's been a brilliant performance from Morsey amongst others today, but I just think he deserves a lot of credit for that. When you, like I say, when you look at what he's up against in there and how well he does, it's just incredible.
It's just a testament to the man, isn't it? Just how hard he works and how he carries himself. Absolutely.
Quick prediction, Joe, and the comments. Are we going to get a crap from David Diamond for 1 minute 20 seconds into this game? So this is one of those, Dave, where you say, well done, Diallo, excellent. But there's some awful defending. And I know Jens Kajust is going to play very well in this game. A horrible decision to dive in down there. Talk to me about this rubbish first goal.
Sorry, and Jens Kajust back towards the end of the game makes one of the best. Well, I'd say towards the end of the game, in the second half, makes one of the best tackles you're ever going to see.
He's going to get some credit, guys, in the comments.
Don't
get emotional, but he
does get that wrong.
Lets him down, doesn't he?
It's great pace, though, isn't it? Jesus, frighteningly quick. But he just sells himself. And I'm not sure when he gets to the bottom, pulls the ball back. I'm not sure that's the greatest ball in. He's kind of scuffs the ball in, and then he's kind of indecision. Should Muric come and
Dave, damage is done.
No, I don't know. I'm not looking. I'm just saying, devil's advocate here. Should Muric come and clean everything out? Just absolutely claim the ball there. I'm not sure.
Well, whatever he does, he needs to make it a bit more difficult for Rashford, doesn't he? He's just waiting for the ball,
it's easy, is it?
And he nips it in front of him.
Yeah, he just stabs it in. He doesn't, I thought it was a clever. When I first saw it from my vantage point, I thought he lifted it over him, but he doesn't. He just sort of gets there first, doesn't he? Just stabs it past him. So, we're all saying in the pub, okay, fine. What we don't want, Amorim's first game, we don't want to be conceding earlier. We don't want to be conceding. Here we go. But and again, testament to us how we sort of got over that, really.
Yeah, very calm, Joe. And we didn't know it at minute 2 in the game, but that was going to be Manchester United's kind of strategy, wasn't it? The counter-attack and the wide open spaces. But again, I'm not like a dog with a bone, but Kajuste's either got to take it. The outcome has either got to be he wins the ball or he gets booked there. It can't be that Diallo's running into the space behind him if he's going to commit that far from goal, Joe, is he?
No. If you go to ground, you cannot let the man skip past you. You let somebody run 50, 60 yards with the ball down the touchline, no matter how fast they are. You've got to do more to hold them up, slow them down, not make it easy for them. But no, that was just poor from sort of him and Davis together. With sort of, they should have had the situation under control and didn't.
Kind of similar to Wes Burns against a Leicester game, wasn't it, really? Although that was probs, he was just powered out the way, like Wes Burns, wasn't he?
Well, speaking of Wes Burns, I thought the next 20 minutes, I think Dave's already kind of hit on it, Joe, that keep calm, Really. One thing we kind of knew going into this game is that despite the massive disparity in the investment in the squad, we knew we were going to be better rehearsed and have better patterns of play. It just blows my mind to see the same things I saw in League One working against a team that cost £8 billion. I know they've not been very good and they're not very well drilled. And did we start to see a bit of the old Burns? He seemed to be the kind of key outlet down the right-hand side. And we had the first action for Onana. Talk to me about not crumbling at 1-0 down.
We just didn't even let it affect us. It's almost like one of those fake teams, pretend it's still 0-0, those sort of things. And we just carried on playing as we were. And they had a few issues which we were sort of taking advantage of, which then they corrected, and then we had a few issues which we corrected there. But because at first Burns was getting so much space down the right hand side, and Delop was just, when the ball was going to Burns, he was almost coming inside and just letting him have that space. And then they shifted over a little bit more. He played a little bit more orthodox as a fullback after that, rather than being the sort of wide midfielder which he was at the start. So that changed there. Bruno was getting on the ball in nice positions for them, and then we sort of moved around our pressing triggers, I guess, on him to sort that out. But yeah, no, it was quite a. It's funny because it was quite a dull game at times, because they were just sort of passing the ball around the back without really sort of trying to pull us in to like attack us, and we weren't really trying to engage them. So at times there was sort of 10-minute periods of the games where just not a lot was happening, and it was quite a bit getting a little bit flat at times, wasn't it? But obviously the action picked up towards the end of the first half.
I think also the crowd had a bit to play. The crowd, okay, perhaps because we conceded so early, but the crowd, crowd got behind the team. There didn't seem any anxiety coming from, outside sort of thing.
Ericsson went really close, didn't he, with the right footer, just swept it past the post. And obviously with Burns getting on the ball, that meant Smodics from the other side was kind of more in the game as the striker than Delap was sort of early on. And I think we deserved the goal when it came. And Delap, I've got to admit, the first time I saw that, I was full, Dave. I was full. He has to score that. That's a terrible miss. That's a really bad miss.
Right.
Then I saw the replays, and he didn't actually do that much wrong. It's a great save, isn't it?
Similar to, slightly different save, similar to when he missed the one-on-one against Martinez. It was a great save. You think when you first see it, you thought, oof, he's got to score there, but it's a great save. Delap, could he have perhaps just kept it low and put it in the corner? No, he instinctively hits. He hits it well, and it's just a hand. It's just a paw, isn't it?
I thought it hit him on the head first.
I didn't know. It's such a I think it's a hand. I've seen
it is. Yeah, it is a hand. Yeah.
Well, you had a great view of it, Joe. I mean, it's just a paw and the strength. I mean, usually because he hits it point blank range, is it really hard? And usually shots like that just sort of burst through, don't they? But what a save! Unbelievable save. He made quite a good save not long before that from Smodics, didn't he, Joe? A low one.
Quite get it in the corner, Dave.
But it still got down. He's still swerving away from him. Made a good save there. Keeper. But this save was just unbelievable. Look, from that range, you should score, but props to the keeper. It's an unbelievable save.
And it's a well-worked move as well, isn't it? The ball from Burgess to Leaf Davis, which we've seen a number of times. And Davis does so well. He's so composed. And then a great run from Delap. He just rolls it into him. And that's one of those ones when you miss it, you say, like, oh, he's got to score. And he does.
That's exactly what I said, yeah.
But he strikes it really well. 9 times out of 10 that's going to go in. But like they say, Onana, his arm is almost like behind him. So to be able to get enough strength in your hand on that, cool. Yeah, just so unlucky. But yeah, that sort of picked the crowd into life at that point. And we started, and then it was a really good few minutes at the end of the half from there.
I'm going to say a good cliche, Dave. If he'd have had half a second less, because he actually has time to set himself, and it's just a case of get anything you can through the legs. He probably scores. He hits it so well.
It's that range, you scuff it. Yeah,
Joe.
I'm probably stupidly the pace. Ironically, the pace on the ball helps the keeper because he just gets gets enough on it. Yeah.
I'm bringing back for the second time this season, Joe. Deflection FC. Here we go.
Yeah, and it's sort of Amari's got the ball. He plays it wide to Wes Burns. Wes Burns gives it back to him, and he was so sharp today with his touch. The ball's really pinged into him. And he just takes that touch, controls the ball, knocks it away, and then just similar to the goals against Hull last season, just that sort of from that right hand side, those left foot curlers into the far corner, and it comes off the Maserari. It just comes off his head, and that probably makes it impossible for Onana to save. He's probably going to save it. It doesn't.
I think he saves it. Yeah,
there, but he can't adjust when he's in the air. But sometimes you just have to shoot sometimes because these things do happen. You're not going to get any goals deflected in if you don't shoot. So you've got to take your chances and open up nicely. And it was really well struck shot, but the deflection makes a goal. But no, it was excellent. But Amari was. I know I've been waxing lyrical about Sam Morsy earlier, but I think Hutchinson was even better than him today. So he was so good.
I thought
First half.
thought we deserved that goal, Dave.
Oh, he did. First half, he was just outstanding. My God, yeah, absolutely everything came off superb. Yeah. He definitely deserved that, and that's just gonna, for him, hopefully elevate him. A good interview with him afterwards with Morsey when he said he'd been sort of practicing. He practices that in training regularly, and they sort of fly in the top corner. So yeah, absolutely brilliant, and so well deserved. We really wouldn't have deserved to go in at half time losing.
Absolutely not. We'll be back for the second half after this word from Atwells.
Blue Monday is proudly brought to you in partnership with our friends at Atwell Solicitors, your ideal legal partner for work on property or business law. Their client care has repeatedly been recognised as outstanding, and they are people-focused with a plain English approach which sets them apart. They have offices in Ipswich, Colchester and London, and to find out more, head to atwells.com.
Joe, you often talk about game state, and I agree with you on this one, where I'm almost a bit disappointed that they scored and changed the game state after 2 minutes, because we didn't quite get to see, the teams feel each other out with the game level at 0-0. Because I had the sense after it went 1-1 into the second half that I think they're going to get better now, Man United, and they did. They had a lot more control going into the second half. Did you kind of have that feeling, Joe, when it went 1-1? You're muted, mate.
They were just trying to sort of pull us out of shape and then get in behind it. It was very much long balls, and we were defending really aggressively, really high line, and a few times they got away, but they didn't really. There's a chance right at the very start of the second half, was there even closer to the start of the second half than one in the first half was, where
talk about the no eyes pass for that chance as well.
Yeah,
beautiful,
but, I thought Bruno. It's the first time I've seen him in the flesh, and I think some of the way he manipulates his body and shimmies a ball and dummies it and speeds up and slows down the game. Yeah, you can see why he's been such a fantastic player for Manchester United for the last few years. But we managed to stop him getting on the ball as much as I think he'd have liked to, because when he got on the ball, they were very, very dangerous. But yeah, I was a bit disappointed with them, really. I thought that they didn't offer a huge amount. It was very one-dimensional, just trying to get that and those long balls released to players breaking through. But I thought Darragh O'Shea, especially in the middle, was so, and another one so good. But he's been brilliant the last few weeks for us, and just the pace he shows and getting back and making the runs. And he was, I don't know, he's got such a lot of high risk defending he has to do, where he is just one-on-one. He's the one making the run. Was excellent, and I think Bertrand Tuanzebe played well alongside him. I thought O'Shea was a real leader out there and really helped us defend that high line so well.
Shooting towards that north stand end, Dave, always seems to be, at least any game, there's maybe not under Paul Lambert in League One, but most games shooting towards that end always seems to be 5-10 minutes in the second half, and we struggled to get Liam Delap into the game, hadn't we? And he kind of came alive for a bit in the second half, and that was the chance to win it, Dave, because the possession had swung at that point mainly to Man United, hadn't it?
Yeah, this was outstanding centre forward play, wasn't it? On the half, he spins two on the halfway line, does he? They just can't live with him. Just sheer strength, and he's off, he's away. Sheer strength and power, and what a ball outside of his foot curls it to Burns. And Burns, quite rightly, does brilliantly. Really, I think it's a great ball in. And again, does he do a lot wrong? He gets his point blank, gets a bit on it. Sometimes those just slide in the corner, and Nana just stays quite big and makes a good block. I think more than the first one, probably. You can't believe he didn't score. That didn't go in, to be fair, but that was unbelievable. I mean, Christ knows how they did. Well, I did see it back. Alan Smith, I think, was a co-commentator on Sky, and he was absolutely eulogising over that. It was superb play. That
felt like the peak, Joe, didn't it? That if it was going to be a famous win, it was going to come then. And I think after that, is there a bit of a sense that, okay, we tired a bit, maybe we'd run our race, and the game was going to be drawn? What was your take?
I think we still were probably the side pushing, but we weren't busting a gut to win the game. I think we were pushing to win the game without really going for it. And Chaplin has a good chance at the end there, where sort of a ball over. I think it's
kind of getting each other's way, don't they?
Oh, it's not Burns because it goes off Chaplin, but a nice ball over, and Jack Clark gets it, brings it down, and rolls it across. And Chaplin just sort of doesn't really hit it with any conviction, just sort of like right-footed, and he just ends up almost passing it back to the keeper. But it was that was probably the biggest chance of the second half. It was a really good
Just
good chance there. But like I say, it was quite a flat game. I think Diallo gets into the box at one point. He sort of isolates Davis, gets past him and fires a shot which doesn't really go anywhere. And
good block in there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a free kick which Fernandez has, who he sort of whips wide, and a couple of set pieces. But Muric is relatively unchallenged. I don't think he makes any real saves in this, sort of towards the end of the second half.
Well, he doesn't have to because of that Jens Kajust. Was it? It was. I think it was Hutchinson getting in a muddle up the other end, and all of a sudden you're in, and it's Garnacho. He could have squared it to Rashford as well, couldn't he? This is before Rashford. And does he redeem himself there for the opening goal there, Kajust, Dave?
I think so. Definitely, it's a hell of a tackle. Yeah, you probably won't see, and people around me saying, well, yeah, perhaps. Which is what he's playing today. Maybe, who knows? But you perhaps wouldn't have seen Phillips. Perhaps was the necessary at that stage of the game with the necessary, energy left to make a tackle like that. It was an unbelievable. To be fair, he was substituted quite soon after that. I think he was done. But Taylor came on and thought I did really well. And I tell you, big shout for Jack Clark today. I thought Jack Clark came on and did well too today. He's
still struggling a little bit, David. It feels like the shirt feels a bit heavy. It's not. Everything feels a bit difficult for him.
Yeah, it does, I think. But I thought he did well today. Like
you're going to say the shorts feel a bit heavy.
Yeah, that'd have been a great assist if Chaplin, and Chaplin is a weird one. He just doesn't sort his feet out, does he, for that one? I don't know. Maybe he's not expecting it, but that'd have been a great assist for him. But no, I thought he did pretty well. But yeah, I think he'll get there.
Joe, I thought we struggled to keep the ball a bit when all the subs came on. We looked so neat and tidy. I thought we were really good in the first half, and just tailed off at the end, understandably so. And you don't have the option to bring a George Hurst in or a Nathan Broadhead, and Phillips isn't around. Greaves isn't around. So maybe that's a mitigating factor, Joe.
Yeah, and you don't have anyone on the right-hand side that you can bring on, really, because Wes Burns, at times, I thought he had a decent game at times, but he did struggle a bit at times against a lot. But to take him off, that's like Chaplin coming on, and then Amari goes out there, and he's not really the same style player out there, where obviously Ogbene's injured and Johnson was injured, and those two are much more natural in that position. I wonder maybe if someone like Harry Clark could play in that sort of right-hand side role as a wing-back, but because, I don't know, at times Burns seems to struggle. He seems to be overthinking what he needs to be doing, and he's constantly... It's quite a complex role he plays there.
Can I interrupt you, mate? Someone asked in the watch-along, does he trust his hamstring anymore? Because you don't see the explosive Wes Burns from the past couple. Is that fair, or is that us playing COD Doctor?
I don't think it's his hamstring. I think it's more just that it's almost like he knows that if he gives the ball away when he makes a run like that, he's got so far to get back. He's got so far to get back that he's maybe playing within himself a little bit to try and be a bit more solid. So it's like that. And I thought, without being too critical of Al Hamady, it's a big drop off from Delap down to Al Hamady, and such a shame George Hurst is injured, because when George Hurst comes on, he's a real quality addition to make, and gives the defenders something different to worry about. Where Al Hamady is, like I say, this time last year he was playing in League Two, and it's a big step up from League Two to the Premier League. And I think he's been managing a sort of abductor problem. Is it? I think he's got a few injury issues that he's never really been fit, and he just doesn't look that fit, does he? He doesn't look that sharp when he comes on. And I'm sure when he was such an athletic player, when you look back at some of his Wimbledon highlights, he just doesn't quite look that same level of physicality yet. But we'll see how he ends up. But I think the plan would have been for him to go out on loan and somebody else to come in. But obviously it didn't happen. So he's got 9 games or 8 games until the January transfer window to help us out in.
Yeah, there's no option at the moment, is there, other than him?
Dave, we're going to sum up, so I'm going to try and influence you in a certain way by saying the XG was 1.75 Town, 0.9 Man United, wow. And I would make the best player on the pitch the Man United goalie. Now sum up after hearing that, Dave.
Yeah, no, I don't think that lies. I mean, I'd certainly say first half, the best player on the pitch by far was Hutchinson. I mean, I think second half, our intensity, not surprisingly, dropped a bit because, as Joe said, we pressed so hard, and first half squeeze and press so hard. So I think we dropped our intensity second half, and they were weird, Man United, weren't they? They just didn't look like they got out of, kept like the handbrake on in car analogy. Do you know what I mean? It's odd, 1-0. It kind of, you think.
Do you agree with my sentiment that probably harmed them scoring
do you know
that
what?
early.
Maybe do you know?
Do you know what I
Perhaps
mean?
in a weird way, it was a strange one. It was a really strange one. But no, a really well earned, hard earned point. Take 3 games now undefeated. As Joe quite rightly said, we certainly could have had another 2 points against Leicester, another point certainly against Brentford. So yeah, we're close, and that was lovely to see. The summing up by Redknapp and Roy Keane as well, who spoke so well about us afterwards and saying, yeah, we're certainly on the right track, and hopefully we'll only we can only go from strength to strength from now. But yeah, tough. Obviously, still a tough. It's just the volume. Ironically, the volume of games coming up now, isn't it? Between now and Christmas and the New Year. So yeah, the squad will have to be managed. Managed carefully.
Just do a quick teaser, Joe. Going to be hearing from David Diamond, who was an eyewitness to Roy Keane having an argument with an Ipswich fan. We're going to hear about that. Maybe in the question segment, someone could ask all about it. But stay tuned to be hearing about that. Now, Joe, we pride ourselves on this podcast. We're not telling people how they're meant to feel. But Joe, how am I supposed to feel? You can tell me how I'm supposed to feel about this. So we've gone into the bottom 3, and we'll talk about brilliant result for Wolves and big news from Leicester as well. We've still only won 1 game in 12. It's another one where we're going to come on here and say, excellent performance. Stop the clocks now. We're going to get relegated on goal difference. So I've asked you so many times this season, Joe, not telling the audience how you're supposed to feel. Joe's going to tell me how I'm supposed to feel right now.
It's just that what it's been for the last 2 years, isn't it? Sort of 1 game at a time. You can only worry about what you're doing. You can't worry about other teams, and the games that decide whether we stay up won't be games against Tottenham and Manchester United. There'll be games against the sides around us, and we just got to make sure we pick up points in those games. But I think that, yeah, we're certainly on an upward momentum. When I know Southampton were sort of a little bit unlucky against Liverpool today, but it does feel like we've got the most about us as a Premier League team. We can do enough differently to work things out in game, and we're getting a lot out of our players. And yeah, I'm still pretty confident we're going to stay up. When you look at what's going on around us, we just need to find one of those teams that's worse than us. But every game we're playing well at the moment. We're not. Like we've had the Everton home game was poor.
Everton and West Ham.
West Ham, even West Ham. It was only really the second half, which was really bad in that one. But other than that game and a half, we've been very, very competitive in every game this season. And we've now, 7 games? With 7 games out of 12, we haven't lost. So as long as we keep only losing sort of 5 out of every 12 games, we'll pick up more wins and draws there, don't we? And I think we're still where I sort of said I thought we'd be at the start of the season. We're going to get towards that upper 30 points, sort of 37, 38, 39, and just have to hope it's going to be enough, which be on the right side of the line. But in the same as last year and the year before, we had to get 98 points and 96 points to go up, and it might be another high one this year, but we can only worry about ourselves and just keep going.
Dave, are you going to tell me, as long as we're in touch, take me towards that game against West Ham on the last day of the season? And you take it now, wouldn't you? Goal difference on the last game of the season.
Of course you would. Yeah, I don't really want it to go to the last game of the season there, but yeah, of course you would. Of course you would. Yeah, I just think it's the squad that does, a couple of key injuries now, say the volume of games before the transfer window, and a big touch wood, we stay relatively injury free. The squad, the nucleus of the squad, can now stay relatively injury free for these games coming up because, I won't name anyone, but an injury, as we know, to 1 or 2 of the more key players, and you're stuck a bit. But yeah, it's so good. It was just, like I said, I've said it before this season. I think after the Villa game, it's just a privilege to be there this afternoon.
Amazing stuff. You've already heard from our friends at Atwell's. We should give a shout out to the lovely people at One Stop Badges as well, who we are partnered up with this season. Take a look in the description below on the YouTube version of this podcast to find your deal. Apparently, in almost the same minute that Hutchinson found the net for the fellas, Lucy O'Brien was converting the winning penalty in a shootout for the women against #in the Cup. Sophie Peskett scored a 96th minute equaliser to take the game to penalties. Blues won 4-1. The draw for the 3rd round is tomorrow morning. Let's do some Premier League summings up. I'm glad we played well, Joe, because there was a point when Southampton were winning against Liverpool and Fulham had already lost to Wolves, where I was like, this weekend's not going to be great if we lose today, is it? But as you very wisely pointed out, Joe, just look after yourself, and what will be elsewhere will be. And you can't do anything about that except when you're playing them anyway, can you? So this weekend it was Leicester 1, Chelsea 2. And I'm going to break the normal rules today because one of you bloody has to talk about Leicester, who have fired Steve Cooper after 12 games. We'll get to that. Paul asking in the questions. Arsenal 3, Forest 0. Villa 2, Palace 0. Frankly, unhelpful that from Palace. Good result from them. Bournemouth 1, Brighton 2, Everton 0, Brentford 0. Everton a few undefeated now. If someone can tell me in the comments, I think they might have. Oh, no, they're not. No. Lots of draws in there with Everton. Fulham 1, Wolves 4. I need someone to talk about that. That's excellent from Wolves, and they've won back-to-back games now. Man City 0-4, Man City 0, Spurs 4. So I'm going to ask the audience, what's the freak result here? Man City 4, Ipswich 1, Spurs 1, Ipswich 2, or Man City 0, Spurs 4? Tell me what the freak result is in the comments on that one. Southampton 2, Liverpool 3. Thanks to Mo Salah for that. And it's Newcastle, West Ham tomorrow. Dave, do you want to talk about Wolves or Leicester?
I'll let Joe talk Leicester if you want. Yeah, Wolves. I mean, they look.
How good is that Cunha?
Yeah, a bit good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah. I mean, the first goal was Bergkamp. The first game was Bergkamp. Was it pulls the ball down and sort of clips it over the keeper, pretty much all in one movement. The second goal was pretty special as well. First time curls it in the top corner. So, yeah, well, they've got him. They were looking quite good. Fulham are a bit. I think Fulham are going to be a bit in and out that sort of side this season, aren't they? Took a great goal from Iwobi early on, took the lead, but yeah, they were comfortably beaten, and good. Yeah, great result for Wolves. A bit worrying for a time. Palace were also winning at Villa for a time, and Villa were doing everything. Villa missed a bloody penalty, and it was all going horribly wrong for a time. But fortunately, Villa got the equaliser there. But so it was it's certainly useful that we picked something up from today's game.
Dave, do your wily spidey sensors, and we'll get Jay's take on this, tell you that you're probably going to have to, well, I mean, the facts are you are going to have to finish above either Wolves, Palace or Everton, aren't you?
I think so.
To stay up if it's us and
or West Ham.
Or West Ham. It's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah. Our next home game, was it Tuesday week, Wednesday week is it's going to be a biggie, isn't it, Palace?
I'm definitely at that one, Dave.
Hey!
I will meet you at halftime in that one. Joe, why on earth, if Ruud van Nistelrooy was available and talking to Burnley in the summer, and Leicester, I've got some sympathy for Leicester. They had to hire a manager in the summer, but what are they doing if they do replace him with Van Nistelrooy, which seems to be the talk? What are they doing, Joe?
Well, you can tell when it's just bad ownership, bad decision making from the club. When you have an international break, you have 2 weeks.
Right?
You wait for that international break to finish. You play a game against Chelsea, who are overwhelming favourites to beat you. They beat you 2-1, and then you sack your manager. It's just
Stoke did the same in the second international break. Yeah,
and now you're going into a period of like 8 games in 6 weeks when you're going to, and you need to get a new manager in for that period. It's just baffling how badly some clubs make decisions. And I know Steve Cooper's been under a fair bit of pressure from the start. I don't think his Forest connections have been particularly helpful for him there. And it's just a really, really strange one. But
Paul was asking Joe in the chat, help or hinder? Surely that helps us if you're adding a layer of chaos into Leicester. Surely,
I guess so.
Can't it?
I guess so. And I don't know who they're going to replace him with. I think Graham Potter's been the early one linked. Is he going to be Is he someone that can come in and turn it around quickly?
Better jobs than that, hasn't he?
Yeah, I don't know if he's turned down any Premier League jobs yet. So
no,
to get back in the Premier League, but no, it just strikes me as a really, really poor bit of decision making from the club, and ultimately they're worse than they were last season. Their best player they sold to Chelsea, and he comes on as a 90th minute sub against them yesterday. And
that's not their fault. That's just the stupid system we're working in, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously they've had financial issues, and they're probably in the poo again financially, so they need to stay up. But they strike me as a club that may have 3 managers this season and get relegated. They just got those 2 back-to-back wins where they were incredibly fortunate to get both those wins, really. And that 6 points sort of carried them a little bit. But yeah, I think that's a good thing for us. But I don't see a way that we're not better than Leicester to the tune of 5 or 6 points between now and the end of the season, to be fair.
Fatal we out for the season as well, isn't
Oh,
he?
poor fella. Yeah, he's a really good player as well.
Great
player. Yeah. Rich, can you bung the table up, fella, in the driving seat? What would you make of it, Dave? So it's goal difference. It has concertinaed a little bit to the point where we're essentially take goal difference out of it. We're essentially a game away from 14th place, a win away from 14th. So it's squeezed up a bit. But I am hearing Joe's warning, Dave, about you had to get through the most Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday being ridiculous, and then Leeds, Leicester, and Southampton in the Championship. Is it not going to be the 35 points that we were forecasting and higher now?
Maybe not. At some point you're going to have to get some, certainly some home wins. Hopefully that will come. It'll be a massive. If we can beat Palace week after next, that's just going to be massive, isn't it? Huge win. And it could well negate if we don't, say for argument's sake, get anything. It's a difficult game at Forest. Although to be fair, they're on a little bit of a downer at the moment after a great start. So someone said in the chat, crikey, if we can get 4 points out of the next 2 games, that will look really, really good.
What would that be, like 9 points out of 5 games or something?
Yeah.
Happy days, that would be, wouldn't it? Guys, start getting your questions in for Joe and Dave in the chat. Joe, I know you've kind of touched on it already, so you might not want to say any more, but just your take on the bottom of the league table, if you've got anything more to add.
Yeah, it's good that there's a lot of teams in that battle at the moment, isn't there? Because at one point, sort of before the Tottenham game, it was looking like us, Southampton and Wolves were sort of, there's a big gap growing between us and the rest of the league, where now it's like you say, I know Southampton are a long way down, but it's 8, 9, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Joe, if I can help with that, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins for the bottom 4 in the last 4 game weeks. And I bet if you wind it back to find the last 5 wins, there wouldn't have been that many in the whole season before that, would there?
Well, 4 or 5 of them hadn't even won a game yet, had they?
Well, there you go. Point proven.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. Right. We will go to questions then. Guys, get your questions in via the comments. While you're doing that, quick plug. Rewind, Dave. Have we got Rewind for Forest?
We have indeed. Yeah, recorded it this morning with Craig. Fairly slim pickings in the Premier League. We only ever played them twice in the Premier League. We've missed them.
Brian Roy.
Yeah, we've missed them.
Ships
Yeah,
so in the night.
Yeah, spoiler. Yeah, for one of the games, Stan Collymore was on one. To be fair, we couldn't really cope with big Stan. To be fair, Stanley.
Yeah, he was a player when he fancied it. Didn't he
was for one of the games, and a comedy moment in the other game where which you don't really see these days, a back pass, because the first season of the back pass, I think, or one of the first seasons, we get called for a back pass, and Clive Baker, our keeper, is one of those ones where every single player lines up along the 6-yard box. Clive Baker's standing in front of them, and Stuart Pearce is like a rampaging bull about to have a blast from about 15 yards. Scary. Anyway, yeah.
Tremendous stuff. So check out Rewind. That'll be on Tuesday. Predictions will be a Wednesday with me and Mikey. Both predicted a draw, I think, today for the people who love to be wise after the event. Why don't you try and be smart before it, like me and Mikey were this week? Thursday will be pre-match. It says on here I'm hosting that. That'll be fun. I'm sure that'll do the numbers the world of good, won't it? Rich and Seb broken up this week. I'll try my best to fill the big shoes of Rich for that one. And we'll be back with the flagship on Sunday. Right. Do we have questions? I got to break my arm slapping myself on the back, Joe. I said on the last show, I think Middlesbrough do a good run and Latte Laughs do a scoring streak. He scored a hat-trick yesterday. I'm just throwing that in there. But does more generally speaking, Rob's asking about a specific player. They've got to bring a striker in now with Hurst hurt for a fair wee while.
Yes, same as the last 2 Januaries where we feel like we've tried to sign a striker right up to the end of the summer deadline, not got it over the line, and then needed one in January. And even more so this year than last year because the margins in the Premier League are so small. And I say Ali Al-Hamadi is it's too big a step up for him at the moment, and hopefully he'll get there. But we're talking in a year or two, not now. And he's got a lot of work to do. Yes, so I'm sure Latte Laugh, if he's one we went in for in January, which by all accounts we did, he's one that could possibly be revisited. There's obviously Breuer, he's not going to be one picked up again now. So yeah, maybe the Fotis-Ioannidis, the Greek guy that we put a lot of bids in for. Maybe we go back in for him. I don't know, but yeah, that is going to be priority number one.
Yeah.
Rando 123, Dave. Is first choice central midfield now Kaius and Morsi? That's probably accurate, isn't it?
No, absolutely nailed on. I'd say. Yeah. Superb today, and against Spurs.
Is someone going to ask Dave as well in the chat? No one's talking about. Oh, okay, there we go. Right, DD, what happened then? What's Roy Keane been up to?
Mate, honestly. So we're walking out. Me and the lad are walking out, and of course we walk where our seat. I know our seat's quite low down, so we walk out. We see Sky setting up, so we thought we'll just go and have a little nose, and we see Jamie Redknapp and Roy Keane and Kel's over there. And the summariser, who I should know who she was, but I'm not
Lucy
sure.
Ward, yeah?
No, it's Izzy Christensen.
Izzy Christensen, my bad, sorry.
Yeah. So they're setting up, and so people are sort of watching on, interested. Suddenly a geezer just literally to the right of me pipes up. Hey, Roy, so you can explain to Jamie how shit you were as an Ipswich Town manager. Well, that just sets him off. He's done. He's gone. He's absolutely done. And he goes down the front, has a word, then he leaves it. Right? So he goes back. Then he comes back again, and he calls him out in the car park, and he's like this in the car park. So anyway, so Jamie has to come over and kind of break it up, and then Stewart's go. The other guy, the Ipswich fan is totally just saying, "No, I'm just asking a question," sort of thing. But yeah, good old Roy. He just can't leave it alone, can he? Bless him.
Some people's greatest strengths are also their greatest weaknesses, aren't they? Joe. Norman, last season either Burgess or Hutchinson were our most improved player. Who do you think will be our most improved player at the end of this season?
It's difficult because most players have sort of new signings, really. Most of our main players are going to be new signings, but I think Sam Morsey's improving again. I know it's boring to say, but I guess maybe Jack Taylor was someone who wasn't really had much of a role last season and is actually affecting more games when he comes off the bench than he did last season even. So yeah, maybe Jack Taylor.
Dave, does the squad look thin again at the moment? How many need to be added? I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? But it does, doesn't it? A little bit.
It is difficult. I mean, probably another striker, probably another wide player. You would think, maybe even another central midfielder. I mean, you'd think at centre backs were fairly well served. Obviously, Greaves wasn't in the squad. Wolfie was on the bench today, but Greaves is still to come back into the squad. So I think we're fairly well served there. And the two, I mean, Burgess just incredible, really, how he's stepped up in recent weeks. He's brilliant, isn't he? And he's forming a really, really nice partnership with O'Shea. But having said that, I still believe when Greaves is fit, Greaves will no doubt play. But yeah, so I'd say certainly two, maybe three. I'd have thought.
Joe, Lee asks, how do we attract a top quality striker when they know they're going to be behind Delap?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult, isn't it? And it's always difficult, but I guess footballers generally have that mindset that they back themselves to be better and get them out of the team. But yeah, I see there's some sort of comments in there about Evan Ferguson, and you wonder whether he's one that we could attract or
on loan.
If he's not getting on loan. If he's not getting enough minutes at Brighton, he's apparently available there. But is somebody going to be able to offer him a sort of a better option than being the 30-minute guy to Liam Delap, 60-minute guy? Because that's what he'd be at the moment, isn't he? Because Delap is absolutely flying. But Kieran McKenna has always been very, very good at keeping the whole squad happy, especially in the attacking players, because they all get a lot of minutes in the attacking rotations. But it's going to be really, really difficult to attract someone, but someone's going to want to step up to the Premier League and back themselves.
Yep.
Where are we, Dave? Cautions and suspensions. Is anyone close? Would it be the 5 yellow cards? I can have a look while you're talking.
Morsey and Amaria are on 4.
4, aren't they?
Yeah.
And a word about the ref today. I thought the ref was pretty good today.
Thank you, Dave. We have all these people crying about the bloody ref every week. Let's get some positive comments about the ref. Apart from, I know exactly what you're going to say, the throw-in at the end that was taken 10
No,
metres that probably wasn't even there, but I know.
The assistant on my side, I'm sorry. Honestly, I thought he had an absolute man. I'm looking across the
Oh,
line.
you've ruined it. What are you doing?
I'm
You've
sorry.
ruined it. All the crybabies, and now you're being not being referee crybaby. You're being an assistant referee crybaby.
I wasn't talking about the collective, Ben. I was talking about
Were
the
you all there in the stadium that VAR got switched off in the first half for a fire alarm at Stockley Park? You guys wouldn't have been aware of that, would you?
No. Is that why the game stopped at one point? Just randomly, the ball was just rolling, and then the ref just blew the whistle, and then
the game. Yes,
he maybe needed to be told about that, but yeah, apparently there was no VAR. Thank you for the positive comments. Thank you. We asked and you delivered. It's very unbalanced with refs, isn't it? Everyone cries and criticises.
I thought
never praised. He was good.
He was one of the better ones, I thought, today.
But yeah, very strange with VAR, because my God, the conspiracy theorists would have been out if something had happened in the 10 minutes when the VAR was switched off that didn't go perfectly well for us this season. That would have been problematic. Thank God I don't have to talk about that tonight. Let's round this out. Joe, I hate to say it this way. It's been a very good week for brand McKenna, hasn't it? I feel in the public consciousness, all the pundits bloody love him. He's been talking brilliantly on all the big platforms, hasn't he? Is this a bit of a... I know it seems ridiculous to us when... always annoys me, Joe, when people say, dirty, we fly under the radar. And I'm like, fly under my radar? Good luck with that, mate. We know everybody. But it seems ridiculous to us. But Kieran McKenna is now all over everybody's radar everywhere now, right, after this week.
Yes, yeah. And it's just a shame that he will leave us at some point because he's such a fantastic manager. But it is what it is, really. We're not going to be able to keep hold of him if he keeps progressing at the rate he is, because there's going to be a big job waiting for him. But we just have to enjoy him while he's here.
Yeah, very, very much so. And Dave, it's difficult because I don't want to get into the whole gooey, proud moments, but there's something symbolic about Man United and playing well against them. And let's be fair, when we finished 5th in 2000, we drew 1-1 at home to Man United and gave them a bloody good game, the team of Beckham, Giggs, Keane, Scholes then.
Yeah, much better team. Good God, yeah. And that was the catalyst. That was the launch for that season, wasn't it? You remember that, and we covered it on the rewind. You remember that game and everything around the day. There was the Sir Ralph statue and everything around the day. But everything came out of that game was just so much. We came out of the game with so much positivity, and that kind of launch was the launch pad for the season, really, wasn't it? So yeah, today can't have done us any harm. We went toe to toe with as we said before, a multi-million pound squad, and absolutely, well, first half they outplayed them, but were much a better side. Certainly first half. Like I said, second half intensity dropped a bit, not surprisingly, but just again another brilliant game. And just to put it into context, as I said earlier, 3 years ago, we're getting absolutely walloped and outclassed by Rotherham. Incredible, really, absolutely incredible.
Joe, do you believe in the idea that a team that's played EFL seasons for the last 100 years has an advantage when you come to a 3-game week, which we have Forest, Palace and Bournemouth? Okay, we go in Saturday to Sunday for those pedants who like to say that that's 9 days concurrently, but you take my point, they've got to prep for 3 games across the 1 week. There are 2 of them at home as well, Joe.
Yeah, I guess it's the management teams are much more used to setting up the squad to do that, because unless you're competing in European football, you're not used to these 3-game weeks, because it's just very few games in the Premier League, as we've sort of noticed over the season. So no midweek games so far. I think we had one midweek.
Players were mentioning that on the piece with Jamie Redknapp, Joe.
Yeah, Sam Spodix was saying it, wasn't he, that you're used to it and you've got a lot more time. I guess the only thing may be that I think Mikey said he spoke to one of the players when he was doing a press day down there, and they said that the recovery is a lot more severe in the Premier League because your muscles are really, really sore after the games. And I guess we've now got to try and manage that. We've got to manage the squad through that period when they're exerting far more, when they're doing far more running and bits like that. So yeah, it's going to be a good test for us though. But we know that McKenna can manage a squad through these periods because he has done.
Joe, how does he manage it? Sorry to interrupt, mate. How does he manage it when potentially the key game is the middle one, the home at Palace? Do you know what I mean? Look, you'll take a win in any of those 3 games, but Bournemouth and Forest have been very good, and Palace are struggling, and we've got them at home on a midweeker. How does he sort of manage that, especially when Dave's just said the squad looks a bit thin at the moment with the injuries?
I think you just pick your best team for every game at the moment until the players are struggling. You can't start targeting games. We've never done that over the last sort of 2 seasons. We've gone for every game to our best ability, and we'll continue to do
Joe,
that.
he has been clever though, hasn't he? Where Broadhead would be saved for the home game, and there was little tweaks, wasn't there, across the 3-game weeks?
Yeah, little ones, but generally, when we've got into those big runs at the ends of seasons, it's been just that same team just rolling with it, and the odd one here or there, maybe a player like Broadhead who maybe struggles a little bit physically, but they look at sort of a team of thoroughbreds at the moment, doesn't it, with regards to athletic ability out there? So I don't think there'll be too much chopping and changing.
Well, what are you seeing, Dave? It's kind of what we're used to, isn't it? Forest away, Palace and Bournemouth at home across a single week. It's big, isn't it?
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, it's huge. Incidentally, I thought today was the first game, certainly at Portman Road, that you see live. You perhaps don't get such a sense of it if you're watching the game on the TV. That I thought we coped with them physically well today. Maybe maybe United aren't the biggest team, to be fair, but I thought we coped with them physically today for as well as I've seen at any time this season. 3-game weeks are going to be bloody novelty, and it's been back in the Championship. Absolutely brilliant.
You don't get many of them in the Premier League. So I think there's like 2 across the season or something, isn't there?
There's one in February when we got Brighton?
Yeah, I think there's 4. I think there's 4 midweek games this season, isn't there?
Man U's a midweek game, isn't it, Joe? I think.
Yeah.
February is that sometime?
Yeah, I think.
So, yeah, it's great. Look, we've all been moaning about the lack of football. So much lack of football from what we've been used to over the past few seasons. So yeah, bring it on. Be great.
Absolutely, bring it on, guys. Amazing stuff. Thank you, everybody. We're obviously on a bit of a delay to try and allow you guys to get home from Portman Road today. For those of you who've been at the game, so we will be back to the normal time. It'll be an 8 p.m. show next week, and I think we can be fairly proud today, Joe. So, do you guys want to give me your sign-offs on the day where Ipswich potentially look the more likely team in a home game against Manchester United, where they are peers and on a level playing field?
Yeah, we're certainly a Premier League team now, aren't we? We look like we belong at this level, which is great testament to the sort of efforts of the management team and the players over the last few months, building themselves up to be able to compete at this level. Yeah, that was brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant stuff, Joe. Dave, this squad and this manager just continue to treat us, don't they?
It's brilliant. And what's good, just to just extend on what Joe said, it's just brilliant to hear the press and Sky and everyone talking exactly the same, exactly what Joe said. That they look as though they are growing into it, and they look as though they belong there. So fantastic.
Excellent stuff, guys. Thank you for joining us on Blue Monday and Ipswich Town podcast. Once more, you can see Joe, not Joe. You can see Dave. It's been a long week, guys. We've got a blooming rehearsal tomorrow night as well. Killer. You can see Dave and Craig for Rewind on Tuesday. Me and Mikey for predictions on Wednesday. I'll be back with Seb on Thursday, standing for Richard for predictions. And Joe and Dave will be back on Sunday night for, we said Man United week. This is points week, hopefully, Joe. A 3-game week coming in the Premier League. Thank you so much for watching as we review a very fine performance and a great day. Ipswich 1, Man United 1. We'll see you soon.